let's talk about what happens when a house doesn't sell, even in a market like this. We've talked a lot over the past several months, really actually the past several years, about how we've been in a seller's market. Inventory continues to go down. Demand continues to increase. Affordability has been affected because pricing has gone up. I mean, if you look at year to date, at least at the end of July, we don't quite have August's numbers yet. That will come out next week. But year to date, we're up 5% market wide. Inventory is now, every time I check the MLS, we're harboring somewhere around 3,500 properties available for sale. Just as an, oh, by the way, in July of last year, we had 6,300 homes available for sale. We're literally like half of what we had this time last year, and closings are going up, and the number of properties going under contract is up. It's up about 15%. So you would think that, hey, in this type of market, it should be pretty easy to sell a house. Well, in some instances, you're exactly right. It is. Some of these homes will sell themselves. It depends on several things. And so I want to go through these different things, and then I want to talk about some of the mistakes that I see happening, even in a market like this, that cause a home not to sell. And then what do we do when we walk into one of these situations? Because, and let me give you a little bit of a backstory here. Over 60% of the listings that my team and I sell were previously on the market with another real estate agent before we are hired to get the job done. So this is not a new conversation to us. This is actually the majority of what we do, is we sell properties that didn't sell the first time around. So when we look at these properties, we're looking at a few different things. And there's really kind of four main categories here that we'll look at. We're going to look at price. We're going to look at condition. We're going to look at how the property was marketed, or in some instances not marketed. And we're going to look at your level of motivation. And do those things all line up? Is there alignment in all four of those different areas that will then ultimately cause that home to sell? And then, of course, we compare that to the competition, what's sold recently, what's under contract, so that we can gauge what other buyers have been willing to pay for similar properties. So when we look at a property, let's kind of work in reverse order here. So price, condition, marketing, motivation. So let's start with motivation. So we have a lot of folks right now that would like to sell. They would like to move. They've spent more time in their house than they have in years. And for a lot of them, they're just realizing that, hey, this space doesn't work that well for us. In reality, we'd like to have something different. Now, we don't have to have something different. We can make things work, but we would really like to make a change. And with interest rates being as low as they are, it's a good time to consider doing that. Just the cost of borrowing money, the payment associated with that new property, even with prices having gone up really for the past 8 years, generally speaking, things are fairly affordable. So when we look at motivation, we have a lot of people that say, look, I'd like to sell, I'd like to buy, but I don't have to. There's nothing pushing me out the door. Of course, you'll have people that need to move for job relocations or divorce, or there are a myriad of issues that cause a home to need to be sold. But I think a good majority of people are just in that we would like to, we don't have to category. And so that also brings up, hey, if we're going to sell our home and buy another, then we're going to need to sell this one before we buy another. And we talked, I think, last show about just the process of selling a home and buying another. You can visit our website again, listingsincharleston.com, and it's got all kinds of great information there on that process and really just anything you want to know real estate related. We've got, hundreds and hundreds of shows and videos on really any topic that you'd want to know more information on about the real estate process. But let's start with motivation again. So for the folks that say, I don't really have to sell my house, what that usually means, if you read between the lines, is, hey, because I don't have to sell my house, I'm going to want a really good price for it. I'm not going to, quote unquote, give the house away. It's something we hear all the time. You spend enough time in real estate and you hear people say, I'm not going to give my house away. Well, I've never asked anybody to give their house away. Nor have I suggested a price that I thought was ridiculously low where I knew we could sell the house for more money. I mean, that's my job, is to help you get the most money for your house and really to accomplish your goals. Not everybody wants to sell in a week or less. Some people are perfectly fine with waiting to get the price that they need. And if that takes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, then that's okay. Again, it's our job to listen and to understand what you want to accomplish and then craft a plan around that, so long as we feel that plan is actually going to come to fruition. It's actually going to work. And one of the main issues that I see right now is that because people say, well, hey, I don't have to sell, why don't we start our price here? They end up staying there. And then as a result, they end up staying on the market. They're not positioned correctly. Because the agent knows that it's overpriced and it probably won't sell, their effort doesn't match the motivation of somebody that would like to sell. And then as a result of that, they're not investing their time, energy, or resources into marketing the property to bring you a buyer. They're really just kind of, and this is what so many agents do. And at times on this show, I will be very blunt with you about how real estate agents operate, because I think people appreciate being able to peek behind the curtain of the real estate industry. And that's my job. That's my role here, is to help you understand this process in the market and how real estate agents think and operate, so that you know what to do and so that you're well positioned and informed to have the best experience possible when you buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And I'm just here to tell you that there are plenty of agents out there that have the mentality that a sign in the yard is better than a sign in their car, meaning it doesn't matter what price you say. They want the listing, because they know that even if that house doesn't sell, that they're still going to get something from it. They're still going to be able to leverage that opportunity to maybe get more listings in the neighborhood, or they're going to just leverage your house to get buyer leads, and they'll go and they'll sell them something, and they know that your house isn't going to sell, and that's okay for them. So you need to be really aware of that strategy, and in your talks with that agent, ask some pointed questions that uncover those types of agents. Like as an example, when like a seller would say to me, hey, I want to list my house for $500,000 and I know it's going to sell for $425,000, I'm going to show them the numbers. This whole process of agents walking into a house and then just kind of shooting from the hip with a price usually leads to disaster, or leads to you having to reduce your price, hopefully just once, but sometimes multiple times, in order to actually get the property sold. And so what you want to try and avoid as a seller is this process of multiple price reductions, which for a lot of buyers will trigger, well, hey, why don't I just wait a few more weeks? They're going to reduce the price again. I don't have to buy, just like you don't have to sell. So let's see how low this thing is going to go. There's blood in the water and you've got sharks circling. Now, that's not always the case. And if our home is overpriced, or if we're consistently getting feedback that says, hey, you know what, I like the house, but just not at that price, then yes, we should take that into consideration. We should consider making an adjustment to be one of the homes that the buyer actually makes an offer on, rather than using the house essentially as, a way to make other listings look better. Like, you want to be in the top 3 when buyers look at properties, because usually buyers are going to look at, 6, 10, sometimes 20, 30, 50, 100 homes. My God, the buyers out there that look at 50 plus homes, either the agent isn't listening to what the buyer wants, or the buyer doesn't know what they want, because that's a lot of homes to look at. But generally speaking, buyers are going to look at 5 to 10 homes. You want to be in the top 3, which means you need to be positioned well. You need to be in good condition. You need to be marketed well. And all of that revolves around your motivation. If you're just straight up not interested in selling your house, and the condition of your home reflects that, and the price of your home reflects that, there is only so much that marketing can do. If I'm selling a car and, I don't clean it, and I do very limited work to it to make it look attractive to people, versus them going to a dealership where everything is nice and detailed and ready to go, and I'm overpriced, what's the likelihood of somebody really being interested in my car? Well, if you take that same concept and you apply it to real estate, what a lot of sellers will say is, well, hey, just make me an offer. But in reality, you haven't whet their appetite enough to have them make an offer unless you have a house that really is unique or special and in an area that people really want to be in and there's hardly anything else available. So when we come back, I'm going to stay on this topic for quite a while because I want to talk about marketing. I want to talk about pricing strategy. I want to talk about some of the things that we're doing from a condition perspective to help people and all that and more as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues. Now, again, if you want to reach out to me and talk more about your interest in selling a house, gain an understanding of that process, feel free to give me a call, 843-400-8009. That's 400-8009. Or go to listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back.